president of the Constitution Project, and I'm delighted to see so many distinguished guests here at the Constitution Project's 6th Annual Constitutional Champions Gala. Since 1997, the Constitution Project has been promoting safeguards to our Constitution by creating bipartisan committees of leading experts on a wide variety of what some say are intractable constitutional controversies. These committees, sometimes seemingly against all odds, have reached consensus simply by bringing to the task their open minds and a willingness to listen to each other, qualities that seem sorely lacking in today's Washington. And we don't just let this consensus, as some say, sit on the shelf. Through reports, statements, recommendations to policymakers, bill briefings and meetings, testimony, and other activities, we promote this consensus to national, state, and local policymakers, the press, other advocates, and the public. In a time of disruptive intransigence and partisanship, we repeatedly demonstrate that constructive consensus is possible and will lead the way to constructive solutions. Just some of the issues we tackle in our rule of law program. We're fighting for civil liberties and privacy as the government employs various ways of spying on us and obtaining our personal information. Some new ways, such as drones and cybersecurity. Some old ways, such as ever-expanding video surveillance and the updated Electronic Communications Privacy Act. We've challenged the material support laws and the secrecy surrounding what the government is doing and how it is doing it in a variety of areas, such as the so-called targeted killing program. One of our recent efforts is the report of our task force on detainee treatment. And I should have something here. Oh, yes. This is the abridged version. The entire report is 557 pages, plus appendices and more information on our website. This report was released just 2 days ago. The task force's eminent experts had the courage to tackle an issue that both the executive and the legislative branches have avoided. With the terrible tragedy in Boston just last Monday very much on all of our minds, and bringing back the fear, grief, and horror of the events of September 11th, the task force's admonition that having as thorough as possible an understanding of what occurred during this period of serious threat and a willingness to acknowledge any shortcomings strengthens the nation and equips us to better cope with the next crisis and the ones after that. We are proud that when the executive and legislative branches were unwilling or unable to tackle this vital issue, the Constitution Project stepped forward, putting politics aside to help the country set right so much of what went wrong. In our criminal justice program, we're about to release an updated version of our Death Penalty Committee's report, and our clearinghouse of unlikely allies has produced a statement from approximately 150 former judges and prosecutors urging dramatic reforms to the Brady Law, which requires prosecutors to turn over exculpatory evidence to the defense. The clearinghouse has turned out dozens of amicus briefs, statements, and calls for clemency in cases of unjust convictions and sentences, and support for badly needed criminal justice reforms in Congress and around the country. And then there's the right to counsel and today's crisis in indigent defense, which of course is the subject of tonight's evening. Several years ago, we issued Justice Denied, which was the most comprehensive report on this issue in 30 years. One of our honorees tonight, Anthony Lewis, was the foremost chronicler of the Supreme Court's landmark right to counsel case, Gideon v. Wainwright. As you all know, Tony passed away on March 25th. As described by David Cole, whose article in the New York Review of Books is up front for your taking, Tony was more than a path-breaking newspaper man. He was the nation's most consistent voice for justice for over half a century. In his best-selling books, more than 30 years of columns for the New York Times, and his many contributions in these pages, Lewis insistently told stories of injustice with evident hope that by telling them, he might help create pressure to correct wrongs. He told one of those stories in his masterly Gideon's Trumpet, in which, as David describes it, Tony continued his long tradition of pursuing justice for those most in need. He saw the law as a means to check abuses by the powerful, protect the vulnerable, and hold the nation together. In that vein, I want to introduce to you one of the most recent efforts from our criminal justice program. Working with Arnold Porter, we produced a video to observe the 50th anniversary of Gideon, starring each of our honorees tonight and narrated by the noted actor Martin Sheen. We are providing the video for free along with a curriculum for high school students, and we hope that Defending Gideon will be used by advocates of fair criminal trials everywhere to carry on the groundbreaking work of all of our honorees tonight: Tony Lewis, Abe Crash, Walter Mondale, and Bruce Jacob. Before we watch a short excerpt of Defending Gideon, I want to answer a question I'm often asked. How does the Constitution Project do so much? We must have a huge staff to do it. So this is my chance to thank our staff of a mere 10 people. And we did have an extra 5 who came on board to work solely on our task force report. But these people work with extraordinary diligence, commitment, and integrity. And it's my chance also to thank the many law firms and committee members who volunteer with the Constitution Project every year, as well as our board of directors, which supports us at every step of the way. And now, excerpts from Defending Gideon.